Beginning chapter 5, we're looking at what we call a cast, and how we've seen before you cannot put a double into an int, but you can put an int into a double. So we open up our tester class and just try playing around with a few things. Previously we've seen variable like x cannot store a number such as 10.34. Okay, as soon as I hit compile, I'm going to get incompatible types, and basically Java gets a little scared. It doesn't want you to lose any information from that decimal. Well, here's a temporary fix for something like this. I can do what's called a cast, and this is going to temporarily convert that number into an integer. Okay, so now I'm allowed to compile. Same thing, if I had a variable declared as a double and I put in a decimal value, or it doesn't even have to be a decimal value if it's declared as a double, I could then try to store that variable back into x. Now right now this is a compile error. However, if I cast, now I've temporarily converted that number back to an integer. So if I were to print the value of x right now, it would print as an integer. And like I've shown you before, it doesn't do any type of rounding procedure. So even if I put the number 2.932 in for y, we're still going to see the number 2 printed on the screen as the current value of x. So we can see right there that the x showed up as a value of 2. Okay, so it's not a rounding, it's called a truncating. It's just going to eliminate anything after the decimal. It's just going to be erased. Okay, you're also allowed to cast to a double. All right, so let me show you what I mean by this. If I were to put an example for like a print statement, I could print a value of x as an integer and make it look like a double. So if I wanted to, I could cast the value of x to temporarily be a double, and this should print on the screen for me now 2.0. So notice that it doesn't bring back the decimal. It's not retrieved. It's completely lost at that point. The 2.932 that we saw earlier, all it did was it temporarily turned this value back to 2.0. Okay, so there's a reason why you might actually want to cast to a double, and what it would be is perhaps something like this. So let's say we wanted to print the quotient 5 divided by 3. Okay, well, we've seen before, if we print this, we're going to get 1 to appear on the screen. Okay, the second time I print, what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily cast one of those two integer values to be a double. Okay, so in this first example, we're going to see a result of integer division. We're going to see the number 1 appear on the screen. And in the second example, we should see 1.6 repeating. Okay, and sure enough, so the first print gave me back an integer because I asked the compiler to divide two integers. In the second problem, I asked the compiler to divide a double by an integer. Now, one thing you want to be very careful of, okay? Watch what happens if I put the quotient 5/3 into a set of parentheses. Okay, it looks like I'm still attempting to make a cast to a double. However, it's going to first do integer division and then it's going to cast as a double. That's that whole order of operations idea showing up again. So what just took place right there is that the compiler first did the division before considering the cast. So again, a computer isn't going to do what you want it to do. It's not going to think, what did this person want? It's going to do what it's programmed to do. So right here, it's been programmed to answer parenthesis questions first. So 5 divided by 3 has an answer of 1 as an integer, and then a cast was performed, even though that's probably not what we wanted. So again, the way this problem looked when I got the decimal, just to be clear, okay, was it did not have the parentheses, and so the key is right here. That number 5 was being cast into a double before the division took place. Here, the division is being forced to take place. Okay, so here we got 1.6 repeating with a 7 on the end. I don't remember how many decimals it was. And then here we got 1.0. Okay, the cast happened too late.